Wednesday.
No, don't start there. Just start. So the topic today is how do you reconnect with yourself and others in the moment. Right now, I am pissed at you. You are a jerk. Do you ever just hate your husband? I mean, it is so maddening that he has to correct me all the time. And oh my God. And so I hear him sitting here just pissed at you. No, I'm still not ready to connect.
So today's topic is, in a relationship, most of the fun and most difficult parts of a relationship are about connection to the person you're with. There's good times and there's not good times, and in fact we spend most of our lives in connection with either ourselves or the people around us. I'm Martin Fisher. This is my wife Susan Bennett Fisher.
You don't need to do that. They know who we are by now.
And sit down, strap in. It's going to be a fun ride today.
So, the first part of this is how do you reconnect to yourself in the moment, and then how do you bring yourself so you're ready to connect with the other person.
The other person. And so we started this from two different places. And yes, it was semi-deliberate that we actually started not completely connected to each other, because we wanted to show that there are physical things you can do to get back to being in connection with the people around you and even yourself.
Well, you have to start with yourself.
You have to start
because
with
there's
yourself.
no way I'm connecting with you if I don't bring myself present.
Yes. The way to get present on your own is very simple. You get all floppy. Get to your good posture, and that's going to help your body connect and integrate with the rest of you.
Yeah, that is an exercise among many that we are adding to our special.tv, our Body of Nine TV channel that you can get to very easily from our website or
whatever.
Googling.
Yes. All sorts of places.
Yes.
But the theory and practice behind it is getting centered, activating your natural number.
Right, and each natural number activates a little bit differently, but the beauty of the collapse and then expand, your natural number, your movement area naturally will activate when you do that, because you lift your body from that part of the body, whether it's your low abdomen, the upper top of the abs, the back, the middle of the back, the throat, the top of the sternum, the center of the sternum, or your forehead or the back of your head. Depending on your natural energy, you'll just move from there. Mm-hmm. So that's the nifty thing about that exercise. It's like, okay, I want to get present right now. I think I'm going to do it one more time. And then I'm going to lift and expand and sit up very straight on my sits bones, and more present. Presence is the first thing to cultivate in order to be in relationship with other people. So how you connect with yourself in the moment is by reactivating your body, activating your natural number. When you got identified, if you've been identified, you will have a physical exercise that we gave you that you can use. You can use the collapse and expand exercise, and there are many more. You can try your posture out. Mm-hmm. And actually do your posture. For me, it's like, oh yes, it feels so good to do my posture. And he's doing his little 5 thing you can see, because he gets he gets suspended from the top of his head. Yeah. And the more we do this, the more present we get, the more able we are to be with ourselves, because we can't be together until we can be with ourselves.
And the trick, if you will, to being with other people, the first step is understanding they're not like you. How they react, whether they respond mainly with their body or not with their body, depends on their natural number. How they are going to be triggered or not triggered depends on their nature and all the nurture that's been layered upon that nature. And so in any conversation that is not in any way going to be just completely low level, but completely almost facile, going in from a place of calmness, a place of being centered, if you will, no matter where your center is a great place to start, because it's much easier to walk in to any conversation from a place where you're centered. Because the chances are, if the other person isn't centered, it's much easier and it takes a lot longer to get you off center if you start on center. if you know that you're about to have a very difficult conversation about finances or whatever it is that normally gets you and your partner completely wound up, then you can actually agree to actually both go off, get centered, and then come back and start the conversation from the
Yes.
centered place.
Yes, having conscious choice.
Conscious choice.
About how you show up, when you show up, and how you connect when you do
Yes.
connect.
Very important.
Yes. So Martin and I, he's a 5, I'm a 6. What that means is both of us we're doers. We're not really connectors. We don't start with relationship naturally.
Mm-hmm.
We have learned the importance of starting with relationship. So when you, this is something that the 1, 2, 3s, and 4s teaches, is how do you actually begin a connection in relationships. So as you get more sophisticated, you can actually learn about 1, 2, 3, and 4 and how they build connection. So if I wanted to build a more vulnerable connection with Martin, we would do 1 together. So we would raise our chin and soften our eyes and be a little vulnerable. That's nice. I know he doesn't mean to be a jerk, he just can't help it.
And that's a great time when you're starting to feel, oh, maybe I'm getting a little triggered. And the toughest thing to do in any time in a conversation is to realize when you're getting triggered. And either being able to center yourself or being able to say, look, I need to take a few minutes just to get back and center myself. There's absolutely no negativity associated with saying, look, time out. I really need to take that break. Because once you get past a certain level of intensity in a conversation, once you get to this place where you're starting to realize that you're not really in the conversation, you're not really present anymore. Either you're responding from whatever part of your brain that's not present, or your body's starting to flood with emotion. Or
you're not hearing.
You're not hearing.
If you're not hearing, you're not willing to listen.
Right, and you can't, and then you're just responding, and then depending on your natural number, and depending on the natural number of the person you're with, then things can get quite painful.
Right, because we start to escalate and we start to attack with our great strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll, throw barbs at Martin and he'll be condescending with me. Those are the sort of the different ways. And I get at 6 as a 6, I might even start to hit you.
Yes.
It's like not a good thing.
She doesn't.
I try not to.
But so what happens is you start, and especially if you've been in a relationship with someone for a fair amount of time, you start getting into the habitual parts of fighting. And this is an enormously powerful way to shortcut the habits that you get into fighting. And you can start, if you are centered and your partner is centered and you're arguing, it's very hard to be actually mean and vicious when you're centered in yourself, because you have this enormous respect and caring for the person you're with. No matter what level of the relationship is, if you're centered and you're with somebody else, it's very hard not to be a wonderful human being with that other person. It's only when they knock you off your center, if you let them.
Or you allow yourself
Yes.
to respond. We have choices here.
Yes.
We have triggers. We have trauma from our childhood, that nature.
And adult, just
that nurture laid upon our nature.
And at this point, nurture is actually not the best description, because it's actually we have been grown up sometimes with situations that are not very nurturing. They are experiences that are actually negative. And we are wrapping the word nurture around that, but we all have positive experiences, we all have negative experiences. All our experiences make up who we are. The beautiful thing about your natural number and the ability to activate it takes you away from those. It makes those things as real, but much more easily managed.
So it's one of the things we tell the couples that we work with when, if you know John Gottman's work, he brings up the concept of the perpetual problem, the ones that recur over and over again, and they're not solvable. You just have to learn to deal with them, and that's the kind of problem that Body of 9 really helps you with, which is because I know that when Martin goes into his condescending place, I haven't paid attention somewhere along the way. I might have hurt his feelings. He might be feeling insecure or afraid about something, but his feelings aren't present as the leader in his interactions with me.
And the
dynamics.
I'm done. I apologize. It sounds like there's a great pause. You looked at me, it was like you thought you'd handed it off.
I know, but I didn't.
Okay.
So this is the misunderstanding in our communication as well. So now I've lost my train of thought, so you can have it back. Communication, so hard.
So hard, and it's very difficult, because each of us is different, as we've said, and we'll continue to point out. The way that each of the natural numbers responds is actually fairly typical as well. So the way that Susan and I work together is very common. 5 and 6s tend to work together the way we do. And if I go to Susan with any kind of energy that's not completely wonderful, she's going to magnify it and send it back. If I send wonderful energy to her, she's going to magnify it and send it back as well. It's what she does. And most...
And it's not necessarily conscious.
No, it's not conscious at all. Yeah. That's the fun thing about this, is that
until I bring it conscious.
Most of our interactions, most of our responses are not conscious. They're not being done with our pair. As Susan leads me beautifully to say, most of our interaction, most of our communication is not verbal. It's how the tone we use, it's how our bodies use, it's how we use our eyes. All of these are, and also to a small extent, the words we use. The words we use can be the most wounding if you're not actually getting to physical alterations, and if you have a physical alteration, leave. But the words we use can be the most wounding if you are a number 5 through 9. What tends to happen with some of the more connectory numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, is that they will fight by withdrawing the connection. And if I'm of number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, someone withdraws the connection, I may not even notice, because connection...
As sad as that is.
Sad as that is.
Yeah.
But
well, no, you may not notice that at first.
Not consciously, but you'll start to notice that things have changed. That all of a sudden this connection is nowhere near as easy as it used to be. And that person, even though they're standing there, seems to have withdrawn. So we do a lot of communication with our bodies, and the body of 9 and your natural number helps you be aware of these things, because the interaction between what's going on up here, what's going on in here, wherever in here you are, and the whole entity, all of
and this is another really good example. It's like Martin is just yin, 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 yeah, with his beautiful mind right now.
Communicating my entity.
I know, you're doing your 5 thing, and I'm like, I'm not even keeping up with you today. I'm like, okay, so my body can be slower. And just remembering the pace difference between you and your partner. Mm-hmm. It's like, wait a second, is how I feel today. But I have to say that to you. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, wait a second, I'm not keeping up with you today. Not really sure, I probably am not present enough, and we're probably not connected enough.
That's possibly it, yes. Because normally it's Susan the one that is leading on, because she's responding to the energy. And what that tells me is there's something adrift in the energy between us. And it's very...
I'm still mad. I'm not 100% present yet.
There you go.
All right, I'll do it again. Oh.
We could do 2 together. Maybe that.
Yeah, we're gonna get there, but first I still have to be with me. Yeah, and 4 is really good for that one. It's like, oh my God. So if you just can't get yourself to connect back with your partner because you're too triggered, bringing your focus to the low abdomen, taking a breath, allowing your breath to drop inside. Your attention goes inside, and you drop down. It's like, oh, what am I messy with? Where's that energy getting stuck? It's getting stuck around here. So I'm being with the issue for me, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm just not feeling heard today. That's what I'm realizing, and that's a perpetual issue of mine, as a woman in the world, just the frustration about not being heard, not being taken into account, being rushed over. And those are my triggers. They're not your issue. You're being just fine, or you're not, so I don't know.
I'm being me.
Well, and you were wonderful. I love you. I truly do. And so how do we reconnect? Mm-hmm. I would really like you to apologize.
Okay.
Is that
sorry.
something you can do?
Well, I'm sorry for misunderstanding.
Okay, that's all I need.
There was a misunderstanding, and there was definitely a misunderstanding on my behalf. I thought the subject of today was very different. Turns out I was wrong. The weird thing is that we had a conversation a couple of hours ago.
No. See, now you're backtracking. See, this is how slippery communication is.
Yes.
It's like, okay, he did a beautiful job, and he gave a very nice. I'm sorry. Just stop there. You don't need to re-justify where the conflict came. They're not interested in the conflict.
No.
They're interested in the resolution of the
Absolutely.
conflict.
Yes.
They're interested in the how do we resolve what is a perpetual conflict? Mm-hmm. Because this is hard work. Mm-hmm. And even as experienced as we are with it, it's still hard work.
Yes, and we enjoy the ability to be vulnerable to you guys and show us a live process.
Okay, we're gonna do it, damn it. Even even though this isn't always easy, but
It's
sometimes
not
you
always
have to do it. Like, it's time to do the show, and we gotta find a way to connect. And it's like, I gotta process myself. Thank you for apologizing, by the way. That felt really great.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
Yes.
that really did, and I appreciate that, and that makes me feel safer in our connection.
Excellent.
So just being willing to listen to what your partner needs and wants, if they're willing to say it, and actually do that and not anything else. It's good example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now the other thing we know how to do is we did a little Florida process through what was holding me back from connecting, and now we should just probably do some 2, because 2 activates the upper abs, and you have to point your upper abs at the other person, and then you can be okay being together. And it also synchronizes you. So not only does it establish a connection, it also synchronizes us in the same wavelength, so that we can be more balanced. And now we can hold that connection as we bring our attention back to our audience and connect with them too. Feels a little better. Huh? What's important?
Connection is important.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is. So how do you connect and reconnect? In the moment. You ironically do it with your body. Our heads aren't much good at it. They're part of it because they can calm us down. We can use our heads to notice. We can use our observer to notice.
Noticing is the important thing, because what Susan just did was notice that she wasn't actually as present as she could be. And so we went through the steps. And instead of escalating, which we could have done and just stopped recording and done it all again, we actually did what we say we're going to do. We try and walk our walk.
We do.
We do. And so it's an important lesson that as soon as you're aware, and if you're lucky enough to have someone maybe as a natural number 9 around, they're going to be aware way sooner than others. And our minds are great at saying, "Oh, be careful here. There's things are starting to go adrift." But most of the work is actually in here.
Yeah, and being honest with yourself is a really important part too.
Yes.
So, and being able to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So all those things go into in the moment reconnection.
Mm-hmm. And the level of vulnerability is obviously different depending on the level of connection you have with the person you're with. If it's someone you've just met on the street and you're asking for directions to the nearest tube station, that's a different level of vulnerability.
You're certainly not going to tell them your life story.
Absolutely, yes. But at the same time, you're not going to be vulnerable, or you're going to see how you feel about that connection. And if you're in a relationship with someone you've been in a long time, a very loving relationship, you can be very much more vulnerable. And honestly, the more vulnerable you are in connection, when it's safe, and when you get to know it's safe, and if you believe and listen to what your body tells you it's safe, then the connection becomes richer and more profound for both.
Yes, and that one is that activation of the throat. Yeah, it's nice. So we learn to be together from our 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, and how to start relationship from wherever you're at in the moment, using whatever skill. And then, we haven't talked about how 3 could be brought in. And it's really brought in with a smile.
Yes.
And with the joy and the bubble, and allowing your body to feel into how joyful it is to be in connection.
Yes.
That lift and that focus, and that it's just being able to smile.
Yeah. But the ability, it's a smile, and it's bringing joy.
Yes.
The smile without the joy is actually much less effective.
Yes, very much so.
And it's the joy of being in connection. One of the things about natural number 3 is that they sometimes get misunderstood. But they're really helping us understand how much joy a true, deep, focused connection can bring.
Soul level.
It's hard to get there sometimes, especially with all the stuff, especially if you're not ready for it.
It's another level of vulnerability, really,
Yes.
to be to connect at that level.
Yes.
One is this beautiful introductory, I'm going to be vulnerable with you, you won't vulnerable with me. And then 2 is like, okay, we'll keep adjusting. And then 3 it's like, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper into the real connection, the real part of Martin and the real part of Susan.
And all 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, really are about bringing the interaction between 2 people, mainly. It extends slightly out to others, but mainly between 2 people, in all the facets. The spiritual elements, the soul level elements, the body love life elements, and just being.
And the ease,
The ease.
you know, and that we're okay. We're okay.
It moves
Just
the other
being in
person
connection
moves.
with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting what you just said. You just said really those are all one-on-one connections.
Yes.
Which is true. They establish the connections on a one-on-one basis. They can do it for the room energetically, but there is a component,
Yes. There's two
especially
levels.
for 1 and 2.
Yes.
And 3.
And 4. There's
Yeah.
there's the once two people make a third entity. That there's Susan, there's Martin, and there's Susan and Martin, which is really a third entity. And some of the natural numbers are really good at pretending that there's other groups that have become part of the whole, but it's much more nuanced when there's more than 2 people. I think.
Right. Well, you have the dynamic of all those energies coming together.
Yes.
And each natural number brings something very special and specific to whatever community that you're participating in. So, you know, obviously one-on-one, it's just 5 and 6 together for us. For me, 6 is always there. For you, 5 is always there because we don't actually have an experience of life without our natural number being present, which is, you know, just something to remember.
One can. There's been 2 or 3 times in my life where, for experiment, I've tried and managed to turn off my 5, and I had no real awareness of life.
You didn't turn anything else on.
I didn't turn anything. I was just a big floppy
blob,
and you know I couldn't keep it off for very long, and that scared the heck out of the people that were around me because my energy just disappeared, and it's without any sort of processing. There's nothing.
So your natural number and the activation of that part of your body is the way that you reconnect to yourself. From there, you can learn the others as ways of reconnecting with people of other natural numbers. So sometimes I connect with Martin in his 5. I'll activate 5 with Martin, and it's very sweet. Yeah, it's very different kind of connection. We can have good conversations when I have my 5 open and active. And sometimes he connects with me by activating his 6, lifting, expanding his chest.
Which gets live and dynamic and also exciting and very, oh yes, very quickly.
So the activation of any part of your body is super powerful once you learn how to do it. It adds an entire dimension of perception, and it enables you to communicate more effectively with other people who have that natural activation.
And even sometimes we're not. Prime example.
Sometimes we're not what?
You can activate with people whose natural number you don't know. For example,
yes.
Becoming natural number 1. Activating natural number 1 when working with someone that you want to de-escalate, or you're in a place where you need help and you need that vulnerability and you need them to understand and feel your vulnerability. Even over the phone, if you're working with someone at the other end that's doing their job and to the best of their ability but really can't find a way to help you, and you'd like to have them become more of an ally, activating natural number 1 seems to have a very strong effect over the phone to have people become an ally because they get that vulnerability. There are many, many body-to-body things that happen even without visual stimuli. It's a fascinating
yes, it
study.
can be that energetic, yes. Yeah, we're looking forward to the day we can study all this stuff, huh? So I think that's probably a great place to start.
It's a great place to start.
Pay attention. If you're upset, shift the energy for yourself by activating your natural number. If you want to build a connection with another person, make sure you're present first. And then eye contact makes a huge difference. You can connect if you know their natural number. I'm connecting with Martin in the space of the room without any eye contact, but we're still connected.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of connection.
So
just play around with your body. What does it feel like? What's it capable of? But the most important thing is to be present in the moment, and that means activate it as you.
And if you can't be present, take a break until you can.
Right. Emotions, shame, fear, and disappointment. Big triggers. We'll have to do an episode on shame, fear, and disappointment.
I think we should. Maybe one of these days. There's a few coming, but plenty more time to add to the list.
Absolutely.
And if you would like us to dedicate sort of one of these episodes to something that you're really interested to hear about, please send us a line.
Yep. Let us know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Lots and lots of content on there already. We have 20 plus episodes of What If Wednesdays. So if you missed our beginning of the year topics, there's tons of discussion there about different things. And we're here to support you. That's what this is all about.
Yep.
find out your natural number and become the whole healthy, happy human that you are designed to be.
And then work with the people around you so that you can all become the happy, healthy people with each other
Yes.
that we're designed to be.
Connected in the
Connected
moment.
in the moment.
Thank you for watching.